Hello and welcome back to Niche Tea, where we talk about drama happening in communities you may not be a part of. Last time we talked about what I'm hoping is still a W for the gaming community over corporations, specifically the Helldivers 2 community pushing back against new regulations from Sony, which would prevent roughly 1/3 of their player base from continuing to play the game. As of filming, Sony has made an official announcement on Twitter saying that they will not be moving forward with these changes, which would have prevented all of these people from playing. However, they've limited the game's ability to be downloaded in all of those countries that would have lost access. So what are we doing here? Today we're moving back into the K-pop community to talk about something that does have shitty elements to it, which is kind of what the tea is. But as a whole, there's so many funny and happy elements to it that I just felt like I needed to talk about it. Talking about Stray Kids at the Met Gala. Starting off, who is Stray Kids? Stray Kids is a fourth generation K-pop group under JYP Entertainment. They are fourth generation because they debuted in 2018. The generations, when you hear people say second gen, third gen, it really just refers to when the group debuted. The group was formed as the result of a reality show that ran in 2017, and that is actually not uncommon. Even beyond the temporary girl groups that you may have heard of from shows like Produce 101 might sound familiar, those reality shows traditionally take trainees from a bunch of different agencies, plus like individual people sometimes will apply and get through. And then the top trainees per fan voting at the end of those shows create temporary groups. Those groups exist for a few years, but because all of the trainees came from different agencies, that group has to be temporary, and then they go back to their original agency and usually re-debut in some other way afterward. But in addition to those types of shows, there are other so-called survival shows where a permanent group is going to be formed. In order for this to work, there's pretty much two different types of situations that have to happen. The first way is that whatever company or agency is doing it makes it an open audition to anyone, but in order for you to come and participate, you have to leave any existing agency relationship you already have elsewhere. So that way you are in a position to be able to sign a permanent contract when you come to work with them if you win. The other way that this works is if the company that is producing the survival show has enough trainees within the agency to be able to do a survival show of their own trainees. And this is how Stray Kids was formed. JY Park, the CEO of JYP Entertainment, seems to really love survival shows. He just cannot stop doing them. Off the top of my head, I can think of at least 4 he's done in the last 10 years alone. Arguably most successfully was in 2015 when he produced a show called 16 with the goal of creating a 7-member girl group, but then ended up creating a 9-member girl group called Twice. But then in 2017, there were rumors that 16 season 2 was going to be coming out with a male group, and a bunch of stuff went back and forth, and it ended up being the Project Stray Kids. This one was a little different because in 16, there were individual trainees who were all competing to be in what would be Twice. However, with the Stray Kids show, it was the team already formed as a unit competing against JYP basically to prove to him that they were ready to debut. And I like that format a lot because it gives you all the entertainment and drama of a traditional survival show with a lot less of the stress of your fave getting cut. He will cut people throughout these shows based on how they perform and how he sees the final group coming together. But he's pretty well known for letting people back in the groups if they're popular enough, because ultimately he knows the goal is to make a group that he can sell, and if he's cutting those popular members, that's not gonna work. I distinctly remember him telling a 15-year-old Chewy who had been standing under bright lights for like 2.5 hours on a live broadcast of the 16 finale, "You're really not good, and you're really not ready to be in this group, and if it were up to me, you would not be in this group, but people really like you, so I'm letting you in." I have qualms with this man. Anyway, that's enough history. Stray Kids has gone on to be phenomenally successful alongside their sister group Twice. I would say if we're like ranking groups, obviously Blackpink and BTS are very much at this higher echelon that's above anything else in the industry. But outside of those two, I would say in my estimation, you've got Twice and Stray Kids right at the top of that pile when it comes to total global popularity. If you're interested in checking out Stray Kids, the songs I recommend you start with would be Backdoor, Miro, and Maniac. That's my personal recommendation, obviously. Do not start with God's Menu. People are going to tell you to start with God's Menu because they love it, because they've been listening to Stray Kids for years. You cannot go from 0 to God's Menu. Really quick, before I keep going, I know you may be seeing a lot of these and you may be fatigued at this point, and I apologize if so. But like many other creators, I am partnering with Operation Olive Branch to help a family that is desperately in need in Gaza. There is a link in my bio which goes to their GoFundMe. I know it seems like a lot of money. This is a 20-person family covering 3 generations, and 10 of them are kids. And this money is purely to get them somewhere safe. Regardless of how you feel about this conflict, these are innocent human beings who do desperately need our help. If there is any way that you can contribute anything, that would be amazing. No amount is too small. And if you can't contribute, I completely understand. I'd appreciate signal boosting in any way you feel comfortable. So, What happened? This past Monday, May 6th, was the Met Gala, and Stray Kids attended. They are actually the first K-pop group to collectively attend a Met Gala, so that was pretty cool. They were not on theme, but they did look good, and a lot of things happened. On the funny side, they were dressed by Tommy Hilfiger, and the group with Tommy did an interview with a reporter as part of the event, where Tommy spoiled that they were going to have a 40-city tour in the coming months, year, I don't know. At first I thought, oh, maybe he was supposed to say that. Maybe it was like how they were supposed to announce it. And then I saw pictures of the members' faces, and I don't think so. Tommy might have gotten a call from JYP on that one. Felix got a ton of attention, which he always does. He looks great blonde, and the braids and the styling, it was a little bit more on theme than the rest of the group, even though the outfits weren't on theme, and he just looks good. Usually the focus for him is his voice, and if you're not sure what I mean by that, do a search on TikTok for the Felix effect. Hyunjin got some fun call-outs for looking like Yuji Itadori, the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, when he had his jacket on. They looked great. They did a great job.
Don't want to eat candy. But the parasites in me want the candy. I don't want to drink liquor. I don't like liquor. But the parasite, the demon in me, it wants the...
But as with these events, there's not just photos, there's video. People like to see people actually walking through and seeing how they act. As idols, they do these types of things a lot in totally different types of environments, so they know what they're doing. Felix is quite literally a runway model. But culturally in Korea, and especially when it comes to idols, it's just much more subdued than it would be in America. This, to me, is a non-issue. They showed up, they posed, they didn't block each other, they took off their coats together, they posed again, and then they headed out. What's the problem? However, the video showing Stray Kids walking through caught a lot of audio of the photographers frankly just negging them because they weren't being playful and talkative, I guess. I don't understand why they were so upset about this, but they were constantly talking shit about the fact that Stray Kids was being too stoic for them. Throughout the entire clip, they sounded honestly like a bunch of high schoolers. It was embarrassing to listen to. They very clearly didn't think any of them could speak English, and guess what? The leader, Bang Chan, literally grew up in Australia, and you can see how pissed he is. You can see him reach his limit with it, and he claps his hands and they roll out efficiently. And as they're walking away, you can hear one of the photographers yell, "How do you say thank you in Korean? Oh, arigato." No, whether that was a joke or not, you are gross and you should be embarrassed. This is where we hit the find out part of the story. People underestimating the dedication and love of K-pop fandoms will continue to be something that fascinates me, probably for the next 10 years at least, because it just keeps happening. And the thing about this is that this was an attack from the outside, and nothing unites people like an attack from the outside. Stray Kids' official fandom name is Stays, and Stays were absolutely mad. So was everyone else. Fandoms are all so used to the absolutely abhorrent treatment these groups get when they come to the West, especially to the US, and they are so sick of it. Everyone came together to give their support to Stray Kids on this one, because they also knew that Stray Kids can't come out and say, hey, this is fucked. Though BM from Card did speak on this, reaffirming why I love them so goddamn much. BM, if you see this, please do another US tour. However, as it was their own personal honor which had been defiled, Stays took the lead and found the alleged main photographer who was talking shit at the boys within like a day. From there, they found his IG, which instantly made him have to go private. And then from his IG, they found his personal website, which was promptly hacked. I don't know exactly what it was before, but as of right now, it's just flat gray with a bolded message from Stays to the photographer. And the message keeps updating. Like every time I go back to it, it's a little different. I know you shouldn't do this stuff, but like, this is really funny. There's also a change.org petition to demand an apology from him that's currently at nearly 1,600 signatures. And people are actively looking to find the other photographers who were in that area who they think might have said things. And I've seen at least one photographer proactively come out and say, look, I was standing around these people, but I did not say anything disrespectful. I would not do that. I haven't seen if there's camera angle from the other side so you could see exactly who's speaking, so I don't know. Hopefully the message did get across though, because this truly was incredibly disrespectful and unprofessional of them. These are human beings. They're not puppets. They're not here to perform for you in this environment just because they are entertainers. They don't deserve less respect because they're a boy band. They don't deserve less respect because they're not from America. Hopefully this sends the right message for future interactions of this kind, not just for K-pop idols, anyone. No one deserves to be treated like that, celebrity or not.